A little bit about Pancho and Lefty first. I understand it was kind of laying there for a while, about 10 years. You recorded it, a couple other people recorded it, and then it really hit big, I guess, with Willie Nelson recording it.
Well, Willie and Merle Haggard. And they could record Happy Birthday and it would get big.
I know, that's true.
But it's been recorded before. Amy Lou Harris, and Lloyd Axton recorded it, and I recorded it. And I wrote it in Dallas about 10 years ago, and it was one of those songs that is hard to, I realize that I wrote it, but it's hard to take credit for the writing because it came from out of the blue. It was like, it came through me, and it's a real nice song. And I think I've finally found out what it's about. I've always wondered what it was about. I kind of always knew it wasn't about Pancho Villa, and then somebody told me that Pancho Villa had a buddy whose name in Spanish meant Lefty. That's strange, huh?
Yeah, it
But
is.
in the song, in my song, Pancho gets hung. They only let him hang around out of kindness, I suppose. And the real Pancho Villa was assassinated. But on the way, me and the band were going to Houston, and just outside of Brenham, we were in a couple cars, and the car that I was driving, we got stopped by these two policemen, and I had to go back to their car, you know. And I was going 67 miles an hour, right, in the middle of the night, getting to the gig. And they asked me if I'd been drinking. I said, you know, no sir, not since last night. And they swallowed that, right? That's cool. And they said, well, what do you do for a living? And I said, well, I'm a songwriter. And they both kind of looked around like, pitiful.
Yeah.
You know that look.
You are the low lives.
And so onto that, I added, I wrote that song, Pancho and Lefty. You ever heard this song, Pancho and Lefty? I wrote that. And they looked back around, and they looked at each other and started grinning. And it turns out that their squad car, you know, their partnership, right? The two guys, it was an Anglo and a Hispanic guy. And it turns out they're called Pancho and Lefty from the Burton County Sheriff's Department, right? And they looked around at me, and this policeman said, yeah, I said, I wrote Pancho and Lefty, you heard that? And they looked at each other and grinned. He looked around at me and says, you promise? And I mean, I've never had a policeman ask me if I promised or not, right? And I said, well, you know, yeah, sure, I mean, for sure. And he says, well, at the station house, when we get called on the radio, they call for Pancho and Lefty. Wow. So I got off the speeding ticket.
Well, good.
Yep. I had to pay a expired inspection sticker and a failure to report change of address.
Oh, they'll get you on something.
Yeah, well, they had to, you know. And I couldn't help it when I got out of the car, and it was the middle of the night. I got out of the police car to go back to my car, which the lead guitar player was in and my wife was in, who I'm sure they figured we were headed for downtown Brenham, right?
Yeah.
And I couldn't help it, man. I had to ask them, look, you guys, which one is Pancho and which one is Lefty? Right? And it turns out the Anglo was Pancho, right? And the Hispanic was Lefty.
And just the opposite of what you would have thought.
I'm sure they were on the, it was a real, I mean, it was a treat for everybody. And moving, you know, speeding is reported to your insurance company.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Right. But I wasn't speeding very bad. But inspection sticker was not.
Yeah, so it helped you out anyhow.
So I think maybe that's what maybe that's who it's about, those two guys. I hope I never ever see him again. Ever.